This is an album review of the highly anticipated album by Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly. And before I get into my review of the album, I want to say this album wasn't even supposed to be out until the 25th. But it got leaked out, ended up on iTunes and I believe another source, and people got a hold of it. If you guys are not familiar with what's going on at Interscope, which I think they made a highly wrong move by letting this project be out earlier than it was supposed to be. What's going on at Interscope? You got a lot of new people over there that are new to the system and don't really know what's going on over there. Don't really know how to keep records from being leaked out, and a lot of people that were once with Interscope have left. So you got a lot of artists over there that have been over there for years that are not being managed and not being marketed right, simply because you have a lot of these new people that have been hired and really don't know what they're doing, or they're playing favoritism, or they just don't know how to keep a brand going with certain artists that have already been established on the label. So it's just a lot of things going over there at Interscope, and this was just a bad move, bad business move and thing that happened to Interscope. But I want to focus on the album cover before I actually get into the album. And as you can see, it's the White House, and it looks like a bunch of black people that are on the yard here. And what I took from this album cover is the album is called To Pimp a Butterfly. And I took it as if the White House back here, the government, are the pimps. And these are the black folks that are being pimped out. The butterfly of the system, the real gold, the real people of the country that keep the country moving, but the thing that's supposed to be considered as beauty is being mistreated. And that's basically what I took from the album cover. This is the system back here. These are the powers to be that are basically pimping out the people. Pimping out the people of America, and especially black Americans. And now I can be completely off on how I took the album cover, but that's how I took it. If you guys had a different perspective, let me know in the comment box. But on to the album, the sound of the album had kind of like I would say a funk slash neo soul slash 90s backpack type of vibe to it. It was well put together. The song concepts were on point. Some of the tracks that stood out to me was Mama, and my favorite track on the whole album was How Much a Dollar Costs. When I heard that album, excuse me, not that album, that song, I really identified with it, and I thought it was very soulful. I thought it was very passionate. It just he really spilled his soul and his lyricism onto that track. So by far, that's my favorite personal track on the album. But then you had tracks like King Kuta, which I thought should be the next single, because it had a really funk vibe to it, kind of a Bootsy Collins, James Brown type of vibe to it. And I just think that would be perfect to contribute on to the singles that have already been released from this project. I think Kendrick needs to go with something a little bit more upbeat, since he already dropped which was a good radio record, even though people personally didn't like it, but it was great for radio. And then he had The Black and the Berry, which talked about how you have a lot of people within the black community that are hypocrites. And he didn't really come from using black on black crime to justify what's going on. He talked about the system that we live in that record, but then conveyed it back to those within the black community that contribute negativity within their community, whether it's killing each other, whether it's gang banging, whether it's selling poison to your people. He relayed that back to them contributing to the same destruction as those outside of the black community, or the system that contributes to the destruction of our people. So I thought that was an incredible record, dope record. But when you really get into the album, he went left field from Good Kid, Mad City. This album had a completely different vibe. I think on his first album he talked about more of his life and his personal life, but this one he talked about his life after fame, some of the things he's dealt with, whether it's from family members, whether it's from depression, whether it's from just the overall system in the world that we're living in right now. And overall, if I had to rate this album, out of scale 1 to 10, I gotta give it a 10. I think it's a great album. if you're a hip hop listener, you're someone who likes conscious music, because we got a lot of people out here, young people, and some of the older cats that say, there's garbage hip hop out here, nobody's talking about anything, or nothing has a message. Well, you got to support those artists who actually have content and talk about political and conscious things within their music. And this album here has all that. Now, some people might be thrown back from some of the concepts on the album and the song concepts, because you have to really listen to the lyrics in this album. A lot of the concepts might go over your head if you don't really sit back and listen to what he's actually saying. And I personally like that, because I think a lot of times the newer age artists, they'll get a hot beat, hot hook, and then put a whole bunch of garbage lyrics on it and call it a hit record. But you could tell that Kendrick really sat down and really digest and really put that pen to the pad and thought about everything that he was saying. It's none of that, I'm smashing this amount of chicks, or I got this amount of money, or, I'm turning up over here. It's none of that. It really has substance. This album really got into depth of not only what's going on in Kendrick Lamar's life right now, but what's going on in today's society. And I think this was great for the time we're in right now. I think it's time that, us as Americans just start wising up, understanding the world that we live in and what's really going on. And music is powerful. I never say that, artists that are out there, even though I think parents should be more responsible and people need to stop pointing the finger at hip-hop, I never say that these artists, whether they're talking about positive or negative things, don't influence people, because music is very influential. So I feel like by Kendrick being one of the top dogs in the game right now, and him making an album like this that has substance, that has content, that is creative, that has lyricism, this can really put a dent and really scope the next 5 to 10 years of what hip-hop should be progressing to be. Because this guy's really transcending things. He's really being a leader and carving his own lane. He's not doing what everybody else is doing, or saying, oh, well, I'm gonna make a club record to be my first single. Everybody's doing that now. He's really scoping out his own lane. So if you're a hip-hop fan, if you come out here, and I know a lot of y'all that listen to my music that, talk about hip-hop and how you don't like it, and the substance, and nobody's talking about anything, you gotta check out Kendrick Lamar's new album. You have to support it. Don't legal download or nothing like that. Actually spend your money and purchase the album. Because when cats come out here and they make, revolutionary music, or things with substance, or things that have, conscious connotation to it, you guys got to put that bread behind it. You can't say, yeah, man, yeah, I'm about the people, I don't like this whack hip-hop out here, but then when people release that type of music, you guys don't support it. You don't put the money behind it. So I just want to put that out there, because this is a great album to support if you really believe in, the authenticity of original hip hop. Excuse me. And if you really believe in, artists really captivating the art form of hip hop, support Kendrick Lamar. But I thought it was a great album. The best album that's came out so far in 2015. I know you got Lupe Fiasco, he's up there. You got J. Cole, he dropped a good project. But I think this one really is at the top of his game right now. And I will say, for those who enjoyed the first album, go into this one with a different mind, because he's not using the 808s and kind of like the Dr. Dre bass drums and everything. He went for a total different sound, which I think is great, because it shows that he's progressing as an artist. So go into it with an open mind, go into it listening for lyricism, go into it really paying attention of the concepts that he conveyed through the album. But overall, 10 out of 10, great album. If you guys checked it out, give me your feedback on what you thought about the album, whether you liked it or you didn't like it. I'm out. Peace.